right center. We fighting for the pint. Biggie sized opinions under neon
Got some
lights.
Biggie Nas.
Yeah, definitely Nas.
Beer in my hand, still keep it real tight. From the
All right.
Like early 90s East Coast rap.
Oh, I love it. Kind of that Illmatic vibe.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
100%.
Welcome back, Pints and Politics.
Our two listeners are like, who the hell are y'all talking about? They don't know 90s rap.
I think some of them do.
Some of them, maybe.
Yeah. I bet Scott Gillette knows it.
He looks like, when I look at Scott Gillette, I think that guy knows his rap.
I could picture him back in the 90s cruising down the strip in a lowrider, little S10 with some speakers in the back.
Yep. And then when the car pulls up, he rolls the window up.
Yeah.
Guy, welcome back.
All you smell is the vanilla air freshener coming out.
Oh, boy.
So what is this, episode 90, 91?
I don't know. I have to go back to the record books.
Yeah,
90?
I think it's 90.
Wow, man.
Yeah, getting up there.
Right? Hey, welcome back, man. It's been a while. I hadn't seen you.
Been gone a week.
You were on the left coast. We were here in, paradise, basically, in South Carolina. We had wonderful weather. How was, so tell us, how was L.A., man?
It was beautiful.
Tell
really.
us what you went on, why you went out there, because on the midweek sip, I fumbled through it. I didn't have the group's name and all. But,
yeah.
But before we do all that, let's thank our sponsor, Comer Distributing, for providing this week's tasty beverage. This is OMB
Hornet's Nest. So
it ain't the copper that you're used to.
What's a Hefeweizen?
A Hefeweizen. It's a type of beer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty good. Check it out.
All I need is beer.
That's right.
Right.
But again, thanks again to Comer Distributing. Let's get it started. So last week, man, you're in LA, jet setting.
Yes.
What you there for?
Went there for the Organization for Online Safety, and essentially it's their annual event, and is a massive gala. I never know how to say that one either.
Either or.
But a massive event for that. It was at the Skirball, which is a museum. That was a few miles down from the hotel.
Okay.
And it was a black tie event. Seen people from all over the country that I've worked with on these, but I was awarded the Samuel Berman Chapman Award for the Advocate of the Year.
Okay. Good deal. So this is dealing with the online safety.
Yes. So they had an Influencer of the Year for raising for raising enough awareness.
Right.
She got her award. Then I gave my award. Their annual fundraiser, their ball, raised a ton of money there for their group.
Nice.
Which I guess if you're only doing one a year. Now, what a lot of people don't know is, so Sammy Chapman ended up dying of an overdose in 2021 after getting a fentanyl-laced pill off of Snapchat. His mother is Dr. Laura Berman.
Okay.
Who is on the Oprah channel. She's a psychologist that has a show on the Oprah show. And so she's the one who presented me with the award. It was just very cool to kind of, I guess you'd say, hobnob, rub elbows with people.
Right.
Like I met a lot of people from Florida to California to Washington. I mean, all across the country that flew in for this event. And LA was...
Yeah.
Man, I understand why people like it. Like the sun was out, a little bit of a breeze, but it never felt like it was above 75 and never really felt like it was below, say, 65.
Yeah. Just perfect weather all week. Did you dip your toe in the ocean?
I did not.
Man.
I went that far. So I a couple of the producers that I'm working on a documentary with, I was asking them because they live Beverly Hills and Brentwood area. And my hotel was right there. I was like, so where can I go to kind of experience LA right here? But I've only got a few hours. They said, just get dropped off on Montana Avenue. Walk from there to the Santa Monica Pier. That's like 3 miles.
Gotcha.
And so that's what I did. I just started walking. I made it all the way down to the entrance of the Santa Monica Pier. And then I got a phone call from one of them and said, hey, why don't you meet us for lunch? We're taking a meeting over here. So I sat down, eat tacos, and then by that time, I was like, okay, now you got to go get ready for the gala.
Oh. Yeah.
So I didn't get a chance to do that.
Well, hopefully you'll have some more opportunities, but it's always fun to say that you've been in this body of water. You know what I mean? And
I didn't eat any tartar, but I did eat some raw fish.
man, I tell you, it was like steak tartare. week for me,
Yellowtail.
man.
Yeah.
So it's a running joke, folks. Brandon Guffey, when we were freshmen, ordered steak tartare, just thinking it was rare beef of some sort. Because you even made
They
the
said
joke
it's
to
raw. I was like, knock the horns off of it and bring it out. I'm good.
And so when it got delivered, he was like, "What the hell's this?" And so
If you want to pay $40 for an uncooked hamburger patty, then you feel free to. But I'm
or
not.
I mean, at this place it was $18 for like a small plate. But anytime I have steak tartare, and sometimes I actually order it just so I can send you the picture.
You and Brandon Cox every single time.
But yeah, had it a few times. Saluta's, that's in 5 Points.
Yeah.
Their steak tartare is delicious. They do something with some Dijon and capers. It's lovely. Anyway, just a little plug for Saluta's. So while you're out in California, we've got a bunch of stuff going on. Last 2 weeks now.
Yeah, this is
I
the
mean, this
first
was
week that I've missed.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to be here, especially after 20-plus meetings on the DOT ad hoc committee.
Yeah.
And trying to get this bill through. And
Right.
I was watching some of it.
Right.
And kind of joking with y'all whenever things were coming up. But it's funny how the spin was.
Yeah, and so, let's back up, provide some context for the two listeners. This DOT bill is the result of a lot of work that was done last year, thanks to the chairs, Representative Erickson and Representative Heather Crawford. They chaired this ad hoc committee as we went around the state. And folks, we got a lot of testimony from everybody from Horry to the Low Country to the Midlands to the Upstate. And we also had, individual conversations with our local municipalities and got some of their feedback, got some of their understanding, and got some of their ideas of how we can make that this DOT Modernization Act better. And so that's what I think we walked away with at the conclusion of Wednesday was a better bill that took out the commission, so it streamlined, and so it was just an all-in-all better bill. And then we started getting a bunch of folks who were taking credit for the end work product who had little to nothing to do with the bill or the work that led up to it. And it just hit a nerve with me, man. It just drove me crazy that we had a few members who were trying to take all this credit.
That put in none of the work that many of us worked so hard on.
And literally, it just, I was like, God, and again, I'm going to have to go talk to
What
them.
were the words? Like, we submitted 130-something amendments.
Yes, and none of them passed.
And none of them passed, but the whole argument was, a lot of these changes that were being done to the original file bill
Yes.
have already been decided. If you go back and you watch last week's episode, we
talked
about Section 12 being removed.
Yes.
But yet they take a win on that.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll go through. Let's go through some of the big improvements that this bill does to the DOT, and then let's sort of.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's a centralized leadership model approach.
Yeah.
With getting rid of the commission.
Yeah. So
Correct.
now you have a secretary who heads up the DOT that's accountable to the governor. This is a similar thing that we did when the health czar.
Yeah,
coined
the road
frame,
czar.
right? What we're trying to do is streamline and make more efficient the running of our departments and agencies. And how you do that, you make one person lead that organization accountable to the elected governor.
Correct. I mean, we needed to do that. We heard horror story after horror story of just lack of communication.
Yeah,
I mean,
or a commissioner that either doesn't show up for work to do the work of the commission, or just someone who is being a stick in the mud and obstructing anything that the governor and the director of the DOT were trying to do, right?
Right.
And so you get one layer of government out, which is the commission, and now you make the secretary of the Department of Transportation directly responsible to the governor.
We also added in the ability to have public-private partnerships.
Yep.
And we called it choice lanes, which there was, mixed reactions to that amongst our citizens.
Yeah. And so let's talk about that one too. So, folks, this allows the state to work in collaboration with a private company who wants to put up the money to fund, say, expanding I-77 right here
Yep.
in York County. Well, and in order to do that investment, the private company says, hey, we'll collect on the toll, do some profit sharing with the state, but we're not going to pass the capital construction cost of that choice lane or of what we would refer to commonly as a toll road, but it's not a toll road in the law. They're going to foot the bill for that capital construction to get us that lane or two. And for doing so, they're going to then be able to charge a small fee for folks who, if they're in a hurry or choose to, want to progress through Charlotte and York County a little faster, they can use choice lane, pay a couple bucks, and be on their way.
Yeah, I just call it the my road, my choice.
Yeah, if you want to
know?
sit in some traffic, you can do that. But I know me, I'm going to pay a couple bucks
Yeah, I mean,
and
look,
hit the choice lane.
as much as we travel on the road,
Yeah.
I basically have to set aside a toll budget now.
So
You never know what it's going to cost.
Right,
And in
it's-
West Virginia, you better have some cash.
yes, correct. And so that's one major component of this bill. It allows us to do that. And what that does is it actually puts the burden on that private company, not on our taxpayers to either widen, improve, or build better road systems.
Yep. We also focused on speeding up project delivery, which was a big thing, especially from new contracting methods such as design, build, construction manager model. Those are things that engineers
Yep.
talk to us a lot about.
Oh, yeah. Folks, it should not take 7 years or it should not take that long to go from design to shovel-ready projects when it comes to our public roads. One of the big components that Gary and I talked about in the midweek SIP was taking over the environmental responsibilities of these projects. Instead of shipping it to DC and it's sitting on a desk for God knows how long, it's now going to remain in our state and local, and that decision is going to be made right there in Columbia to improve the efficiencies of the approval process for these projects.
Yeah, we also had, and look, I wasn't there for this portion of the bill, so I don't know how it ended up. And if you remember, maybe you can let us know. But I know that we expanded the EV charges and fees.
Yeah.
Because EVs weigh more.
Yep.
They are putting more strain on the road. Most EVs would be classified as a commercial vehicle because they're over that 10,500 threshold, which means they cause more damage to the roads. We're having to upgrade all of our guardrails because they're lower center of gravity, where the battery would just go completely under them.
Oh, right.
Was something that I learned. But we made it more fair. Our citizens pay a gas tax. This would allow us to collect, it's a higher property tax on the EVs that will go towards the road.
Yep, and we tried to bring it more in line with what gasoline and diesel engines effectively pay, right?
Correct.
And so I think it was somewhere around $270 or something like that. Was it biannually?
But bottom line, even
Basically,
as
it
an
made it more
EV,
fair for EV. And,
as an EV driver, we're not paying our fair share
Right.
for the roads. I would have loved to see an electricity surcharge on our travel centers, such as a Buc-ee's, whenever you're charging up. If it was just a few pennies added to per kilowatt,
right.
From there, that would allow us to generate the revenue for people traveling through, as opposed to just putting it completely on
Again,
citizens.
you're thinking of something apples to apples with a gas tax,
Yes.
right? An energy tax to where
But only on those charging stations.
Yes.
This way it doesn't affect our everyday ratepayers that are not
Yeah,
plugging up
correct.
EVs. We also added accountability and performance measures for faster pothole repairs.
within 7 days is the goal.
That's the target.
They're talking about
Yep.
developing an app to where you can take a picture of a local road that's got a pothole that needs repair. You take a picture in the app and it's all geolocated, timestamp the whole thing, and you just upload it to the app.
Yep. And giving more auditing, more internal oversight over getting this done. I mean, what we want is efficiency.
Yeah.
and we want our roads fixed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think we improve on an outdated system. We bring efficiencies in the not just the permitting side, but also the design and the construction of, these projects. And then it also allows us to work in agreements with private folks for these choice lanes.
Yeah.
So again, is it perfect? No. Could we have done more? Possibly. But we had to start somewhere, and this is a great start, I believe, because as we found out through the debate, folks, we have not changed the way we fund our roads. We haven't increased it. We haven't changed maybe our strategies of how we invest and how do we maintain our roads. We're one of the fastest growing states,
The
in
fastest growing state.
in the country, and we realize we're going to have to change the funding mechanisms and how we prioritize infrastructure in our state. With so many folks coming here, the older systems of bridges, especially in the upstate, and roads, was being outpaced by the growth. So we had to realign our investments into infrastructure, but also had to, I think, address just the changing economies, right? With
Well, and
EV,
we're
with
30
choice
years
lanes, and-
behind
yeah.
as well.
Yep. So all in all, a good win for South Carolinians.
We're going to speed up projects. Number
Yeah.
one, we're going to have the ability to bring in private money,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not falling all on our taxpayers. And we're going to modernize an outdated system.
Yeah.
Those are the big key points
Yep.
to this bill.
And so now getting into some of the weeds of the debate, we did have a member, a colleague, Joe White out of Newberry, who is a member of the Freedom Caucus, throw up a lot of amendments. And I can't even tell you. I think at one point the count was 180, 185 amendments just on the bill. And I want to say around 130 were ones that he had put up. And now that we're through this debate and all, I did want to play some of the stuff for our audience, because this will sort of set up, I think, our frustration.
Well, if I would have been there, I would have voted against every one of those amendments.
Yeah. And this is just indicative of how the day was going early on. This is a little bit of a back and forth between our colleague, Representative Chris Wooten out of the Lexington area, and Joe White, who was at the well taking questions about the amendment.
Many of our colleagues in here, you know how many meetings they had? 24. Are you aware they had 24 meetings with people from across the state?
Yes, sir. I heard about that. Yes, sir.
Did you attend any of those meetings, Mr. White?
I did not.
Did you attend any of the subcommittee hearings while this topic was there, or any full committee meetings currently? Have you attended any of those meetings?
No, sir, I did not.
No, sir. Didn't attend a single meeting of any of these.
So again, and I think Representative White, he does want to improve roads in his area. He brought that up a lot, but that's what was frustrating to me. And Representative Wooten just really hit the nail
a lot of things, but if you don't do the work
on the head with me, and that's why I just was like, okay, man, because if you're not going to the meetings, if you're not having these conversations, why are you going on social media proclaiming that this is what the bill says? If all you're doing is reading the black and white print of the bill and not understanding the conversations, sort of the progress of said conversations, every town we went to, when we talked to local mayors, county council folks, or city council folks, all of them expressed to us how they did not want to take on state roads as a local responsibility, right? They all said it, because, and a lot of those roads are
we had
neighborhood
the option
roads. We had an option
in the original bill.
Yep.
Which was twisted by the Freedom Caucus, that we're forcing local governments to take this over,
Right.
and putting the tax burden on them.
And again, at the end of the day, there were sections in there that, as an ad hoc committee, we all, as a committee, we said, hey, take out the commission, right?
Yeah.
Take out this section that all of our local governments are saying, hey, this is a little ambiguous. Can we either offer clarifying language or can we just take the section out? Here's the deal, folks. That section gave local governments the option to take the responsibility of a state road. A lot of these state roads that were in these types of conversations regarding that section were neighborhood roads. Neighborhood roads that have no business being the state's responsibility, right? And so, but as we progressed these conversations, we just asked ourselves, look, guys, if every single local municipality is telling us they're not going to take them, why even have it in the bill? Right? I mean, it was like, folks, our local folks are telling us they ain't never going to take them.
I could have cared less either way.
You know?
I mean, because it required mutual consent.
Correct.
If they didn't want to take them, they don't have to take them.
Yeah.
Nothing's forcing them to.
Yep.
So-
So it was either clarify that language or just take it out. And,
Yeah.
and everyone said, hey, we're getting the same feedback from our local folks. And that's how government works.
Which we knew that was coming out. We talked about it last week on the episode before the bill ever got to the floor.
Yeah.
Yet this is one of the things that
You know what?
other reps have said, we won because we got them to remove this. And it's like, we removed it before you
Yeah.
started
Hey,
pitching a fit about it.
you and I are both on the DOT ad hoc, and we talked about it last week. You know what? We should have taken credit. we did it.
Yeah.
Pints of Politics.
I
our
didn't
two-
vote on it,
Our
but
two
yeah, I'll
listeners,
take credit.
Our two listeners, you did that. You did that. Anyway, so that's some of the frustration is you get people, and I appreciate Representative White.
I mean, if you never accomplish anything, you try to take credit wherever
I
you can,
appreciate
right?
he was forthright. He was honest. He didn't.
Bullshit. He ain't never
No.
honest.
He didn't lie on the floor when Chris Wooten asked him, have you been in the meeting? No.
Aye.
Have you done the work? No. Okay, then what are we talking about? Why
Yeah.
are you offering up 130 amendments?
About the only time you hear him be honest.
And so that was, that was one thing for me. Another one was this, and again, social media, folks. I cannot say enough great things about social media. We had another rep, Representative Thomas Beach.
My desk mate?
Go on Facebook and say 110 amendments, 0 tax hikes. We gutted the bad road bill. I don't know who we is, but if he means we as the Freedom Caucus, they didn't do anything. I mean, that's a lie. His second paragraph, while Columbia was ready to hand counties a new tax burden and stack another layer of bureaucracy on top of a broken system, I don't even know what that means, conservatives forced the GOP back to the table and we won. Again, I don't know what any of that means. I don't know who we is. I don't remember having one
He said
conversation.
conservatives forced the GOP.
Oh, I guess he's talking about us. Because we talked about this last week. We talked
Yeah.
about how this bill was going to change before it got out of the House. We talked about this. And so it's just, folks, do not believe everything you read on social media. I mean, again, it's fun. It can be entertaining. But sometimes it's also bullshit. And that is some of the stuff that we're getting when, I mean, folks, we had great debate on Wednesday. And I'm not trying to pick a fight here with any of my colleagues, but what I cannot stand is when folks are trying to mislead the public through social media by taking this credit.
Or as the GOP was going to do something harmful if it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
That becomes the problem.
It's like they're the freedom-loving, red meat.
If not for them, this
True patriots.
yeah, this world would be
Folks,
ruined.
count how many times you hear freedom, patriots, liberty, all of those great buzzwords that us as Americans, we love. Listen to how many times people said that, and that's when just walk away.
Now, I mean,
Walk
we
away.
we did use some buzzwords in the bill. We said choice lanes instead of toll roads. So,
Yeah, that's right.
it does happen. But speaking of fake news, also, I got lit up on social media because an AI-generated image saying that's come from the office of the governor, state of South Carolina, saying tattoos will become illegal to have in South Carolina in 2028. Now, it quotes,
What do you mean you can't have them on your body?
evidently,
Wow.
it says the governor signs House Bill 742 into law. I mean, it's completely made up. That bill, whenever I looked it up, has something to do with babies. Has nothing to do with tattoos. And of course, a House bill is not numbered 742, so it had to be a Senate bill.
Yeah.
But anyway, it says effective date July 1st, 2026. Of course, people started tagging me, especially some of the tattoo studios. Like,
Yeah, right.
what in the world's going on? But yeah, definitely do not believe everything that you see on social media.
Yep. And so another couple of issues that I wanted to just bring up for the two listeners. We had a little bit of a conversation about data centers on our last episode.
Yeah.
Seemed to spur a lot of conversation, questions. Keep bringing them, folks. We're not done with the issue of data center, right?
Nope. And I'm not advocating for or against.
That is correct. We won't advocate for a position until we're looking at legislation, so we can then actually tell you, hey, this is what this does, and now we support this or we don't. We're trying to give you guys some information to consider when you're hearing about data centers possibly coming to York County or your own local community if you're not local here to York County. It's not saying we're pro data center or we're pro whatever the alternative is. We're just saying, folks, don't believe all this pitchfork and light up torches, kick data centers out of your local community until you go and you have those community conversations based on evidence, based on facts. And I would always tell everybody, I would try to get information from not just one side of that argument, right?
I would agree. Matter of fact, I've got family in town right now. My wife's family's in town, and one of her uncles lives in Columbus, Georgia. And he brought up the fact about data center there. And he was saying, the big concern there is they're worried about it increasing the temperature in the community.
Okay.
That was a new one that I had not heard of. But it just goes back to what I was saying. There's a lot of information getting put out there. Now, I would love to have a true study committee.
Yeah, right.
This is what you're saying it does. Let's bring in the good, the bad, the ugly, and let's lay the facts out.
Well, and folks, from when data centers started becoming a thing until now, I still think we're in that infancy. But let's look at the technological innovations that have been made in data centers just in the last couple of years or so. When data centers first, like the Google one down there in the Low Country, that is an open loop system
using tons of water.
And as last reported, I believe that data center is annually using about 850 million gallons of water. Right? That's a lot of water. And now again, go check the stat. That was last reported, I believe, in 2024. We can provide that link so you can read it yourself. But now look at that open loop system versus what we have up here that QTS is building, which is a closed loop system. Now, again, does it still use water? Absolutely. But it uses around 600 to 650
600,000 gallons.
1,000 gallons versus 850 million gallons.
And to put that into perspective, 5 households on the same footprint of land, the estimation is 730,000 gallons.
Okay.
So
this thing is
5
using about
households
6
is using more water
Yeah.
than the data center would. Or another perspective, a golf course would use 5.5 million gallons of water.
I have noticed golf courses always compared.
Yeah.
Now,
A cornfield, 5.8 million gallons of water.
So again, folks, we're bringing this to you to let you know the information. Open loop system down in the Low Country using 850 million per year gallons, whereas a closed loop up here in York County using around 600,000 gallons, and that's a closed loop system. So all we're saying is this thing is not something that is static. It's not forever and ever in stone. As technology improves, the water usage on these things is going to improve. And you as a community member need to go out and have those discussions, listen to all sides of these discussions, and then weigh the impacts and what do you want your community to look like in the future. And positive, negative, and then you got to sort of do the math, which one outweighs the other.
And the other fear that we have is the amount that it will raise the ratepayers' cost for electricity.
Right.
If you look at the top 5 states that have the most data centers, their cost on electricity is lower than the remaining states.
On the individual ratepayer.
And a lot of that is due to the data centers building the infrastructure. Now, are there examples of data centers getting these massive breaks and not having to pay to upgrade? Absolutely. There's not a right or wrong, but this is something that needs to be studied, something that needs to be discussed, and we need to lay it all out there. There was even some good Senate debate last week on the floor.
Yeah,
in regards to this.
And that's some of the conversations that we're having. And Senator Tom Davis, I believe, has a bill that's advancing in the Senate in regards to looking at the data center issue, making sure there's collaboration between local governments and state governments for as far as siting, energy capacity, water consumption, all those types of things. So, this issue, I don't know if we're going to get anything out this year, but it is an important issue that's, going to be decided upon, if not this year, I would say within the next term. Wouldn't you say so?
I would say so. And look, I'll also say this. As Republicans, we get thrown into this, group that says we're going to do exactly what the administration wants us to do. And that's not always the case. Because just as with the AI moratorium, we disagreed with the AI moratorium being put on by the federal government.
Yeah.
Well, the federal government's got a different approach to AI and data centers than many of our states believe. I will always focus on trying to make sure that we are protecting the citizens of South Carolina first over any national narrative.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we talk about it a lot. We're down there to do a job. That job is representing our districts, which consists of 41,000 folks. That's who we work for. Now, obviously, we'll consider stakeholders in industries because that's that expert opinion on whatever the issue.
That's what helps out those 42,000 people we represent.
That's correct. But man, the Trump administration might have a federal priority that doesn't jive with the South Carolina priority. And at the end of the day, when those types of events occur, we're going South Carolina.
Right.
So,
always.
Yep. This episode of Pints of Politics is brought to you by Comer Distributing. Comer Distributing Company is a wholesale beer distributor located in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Founded in 1971, Comer is a family-owned business that distributes beer and other beverages to York, Chester, Fairfield, Lancaster, Kershaw, Lexington, and Richland counties.
We drink pints and talk politics, getting loose with the truth. Foam on the mustache, arguments in the booth, left,
Foam
right,
on the mustache.
center. We fighting for the pint.
Get that beard oil, son.
I need more, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not out.
So not only did we pass the DOT Modernization Act Wednesday, on Thursday we passed out Senate Bill 52, which is strengthening our DUI penalties.
Yeah.
And this is something that we talked about. Senator Johnson and I had a tort reform, liquor liability town hall with our local Chamber of Commerce here a few weeks ago. And this was one that we both agreed is easy, common sense, no-brainer. We should pass this bill because it brings real accountability and strengthens our DUI laws. So that's another big win when you're talking about lowering, helping out our small businesses when it comes to bars and restaurants. Because if insurance companies come into South Carolina, they're going to price the risk. If they see that we're not holding DUI offenders, especially the multiple DUI offenders, accountable, they're going to say this state's a little more risky, so they're going to price the premiums higher. If they see that we as a state have a track record of putting folks who decide to drive drunk, especially repeat offenders, and they're spending a lot of serious time in jail and paying fines, hopefully they'll price the risk and say this is a less risky environment.
Right. It's the same argument we had with the windshield welfare. Some
Right.
people are going to say you're just trying to help out insurance companies, but I don't buy that for one bit. Bottom line is we had some of the worst DUI laws in the country. The 30 to 45 second explainer of the bill is that it's a major overhaul for South Carolina DUI laws aimed at closing loopholes, making it easier to actually convict drunk drivers, strengthens penalties, allows judges to impose both jail time and fines, prevents cases from getting thrown out over technicalities like minor video issues.
Yeah.
It expands testing rules and requires stronger prosecution of DUI cases. Supporters say it's long overdue and will finally bring back accountability, while critics worry that it goes too far to limit legal defenses. Bottom line is this bill is about making sure DUI laws actually stick.
Yeah. And so, again, common sense legislation that, our Republican caucus has gone out and supported. This is, while it's a public safety issue, this also feeds into the tort reform conversation, folks. As we stated before, insurance is going to price the risk. And if we're putting folks who continually decide to drink and get drunk and then drive around on our public roads, we're going to start treating that as a more serious offense and giving them stiffer fines and jail time.
Which none of us want our families out there on the road with
Correct.
someone drinking and driving.
Yep. So that was another important piece of legislation that it originated in the Senate. So we passed it out of the House too. So I see it becoming state law here shortly.
Yeah, and now one of the things that we did a couple weeks ago with the marijuana bill or the hemp drinks bill, we non-concurred. The Senate has now non-concurred. That happened last week as well.
So we'll go to conference.
It'll be conference and
That's what we anticipated.
kind of the plan.
So, and folks, we got now last 2 weeks coming up. You're going to see a lot of stuff happen on the floor. As we will be running out of time, folks will see the finish line. We saw it a lot again this week where folks during the unanimous consent period were trying to pull bills up to bypass the committee process and then just have debate right on the floor.
And we're going to have to do that with some of them
Yes.
that have been through one of the bodies.
Yep. And so, again, one that you will see, because we saw it last week, is this bill that temporarily suspends the gas tax
But that hasn't been through either body.
for 30 days. And we got those again last week for folks to try to pull them onto the floor without the committee process. And folks, look, I don't know where everyone falls on suspending the gas tax. Just know what that means and how it impacts, say, projects may be going on in your community. If we suspend the gas tax, that will cease funding for current DOT projects. And for a 30-day, if we were to suspend the gas tax, everyone I've talked to gives me varying numbers, but they usually fall in that 80 to 90 million range. So we would lose 80 to 90 million in funding for DOT projects going on right now. That would be at a average cost savings to each South Carolina driver of around $16 to $17. I would not be in favor of suspending the gas tax because of the timing of it. School's about to get out. Folks,
All of our tourists.
this is this prime season when folks come to our state and our beaches. Guess who's paying the gas tax in this spring, summertime?
Yeah.
A lot of out-of-towners who don't
Yankees.
live here. And so they're actually helping offset the investment in our roads and bridges with citizens of South Carolina. And so I think that would harm resident South Carolinians if we were to suspend it, especially in the next 30 to 45 days, because we're getting into the big, busy tourist season.
Well, the other thing is like I said before, if a bill has not been through committee, that means it has not been vetted at all. Whether it's been through a committee in the Senate, whether it's been through a committee in the House, if it's already passed one body, I understand calling for unanimous consent to bring it to the floor in the
Yeah.
other body because there's not enough time to get it through the committee process.
Right.
And I completely agree with that. I will be doing that
Yeah.
on a couple of bills.
Yeah.
We've got
And so let's talk about that for a second. So, folks, every day on the floor, we basically go through the calendar. And so that calendar is made up of a couple sections. You have your statewide uncontested, and then you have your contested calendar. Uncontested are a lot of times, hey, we want to have a license plate that reflects the South Carolina's impact in the establishment of our country.
a resolution, something
Yep.
that
And so
everyone's
some
gonna
of
go
these
with.
vanilla benign bills stay on uncontested. There's still question and answer. You present the bill, question and answer. And if there's not much debate, it stays on uncontested calendar and can pass out that way. Other times, more, say, complex, debatable issues get moved to the uncontested calendar.
to the contested calendar.
The contested, excuse me, yeah. Another portion is every so often we will go into a unanimous consent period. And that is where, as Representative Guffey just highlighted, individual members can stand up, get the speaker's attention, get called on, and make a unanimous consent request to pull a bill onto the floor for immediate debate. I probably will be doing that as well in the last 2 weeks because I don't have enough time in subcommittee or even our full committee, but we do have some Senate bills that have passed through, and we just don't have enough time in committee to take them all up.
Right.
And so I will be asking not only my chair lady, but I'll get, the majority leader involved. I'll get the speaker in the speaker's office involved to let him know what the aim and the intent is. And I've already talked to the senator who was a primary sponsor, right? Because we're trying to get some of those bills that just we're running out of time to the floor so we can pass them to get them to the governor's desk because they do make some positive impact for citizens and businesses here in South Carolina.
And if they are not passed by next Thursday, not this coming Thursday, but next Thursday
Yep.
at 5 p.m., they're dead.
Yep.
There is no holding it over. It's got to start the entire process all over again. So keep that in mind whenever if you see your rep calling for unanimous consent for a bill that has not been through either chamber,
Yeah.
they're wasting time of other members because that is a timed process.
Yeah.
They're wasting the time just so they can campaign to say, well, I tried to get this bill through. I tried to suspend the gas tax.
Right.
But it has not passed through either chamber, and it is impossible to ask to get a subcommittee, a full committee, and a
Right.
House hearing or a Senate hearing in that short a time period, and the bill's not going to pass as law.
Right.
It
That's the
legitimately is impossible to get it through both chambers between now and the end of the year. But yet those games will be played. They will eat up our time that we're actually trying to get some of these laws done
Yep.
during that process.
Yeah, and most of the time, House bills are 4 numbers, Senate bills are 3 numbers. So if you hear your representative or anybody calling up a number that is a 4-letter number and it starts with an H, that they're just trying to circumvent the process. Whereas if you hear them pulling a Senate bill to the floor, it's because it's already passed one body over there in the Senate chamber, and we're just trying to get it out so we can make it law. Or
Correct.
just give a straight up or down vote. Sometimes you're just trying to, hey, this has been through the deliberative process over in the Senate. It has been exhausted in that subcommittee and committee. It's a worthwhile bill to bring to the floor for all of us to debate and either, pass it or vote it down.
And we need to pay attention to the types of amendments and the seriousness of those amendments going into these last 2 weeks because games are going to be played.
Oh, yeah.
And if they are wasting time, we are literally on a ticking clock.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, 5
the more
o'clock
time that's
next
being
Thursday.
wasted is just going to cause good legislation to fail.
Yep.
Because the Senate was moving bills slow. They finally put their foot on the gas last week.
Yep.
Seems like the House has put their foot on the gas on getting some of the Senate bills through. So we should be rolling full steam ahead.
Yeah.
But there's some bills such as Shazam or Shazam I've mentioned before. We don't have enough time to get it through a subcommittee, full committee, and then to the floor. So what's going to happen is there is a special ad hoc committee on Thursday
In the Senate?
in the Senate. So that way they can hear it And then if the chairman agrees with the bill, he could make the request for a unanimous consent to bring it up on the Senate floor.
Okay.
You know,
And then
that's
get it
the
on special
importance
order
of it.
that way.
Yes. Same thing with some of these chatbot bills. They're probably not going to pass the Senate until this week.
Yeah.
If they pass, then, you know, we'll have to go to the chair of what that committee would be and say, hey, how would you feel if we were to use the testimony that they had in their committee
Yeah.
as opposed to us having a committee, and let's do a unanimous consent.
And I know you were in LA this past week, but there was a lot of senators coming over to the House and a lot of House going to the Senate, because that is, you know, it's like it's like a beehive right now. A lot of busy bees, man, trying to get some.
You're going to see additional games too, and I'll tell you this. So, and it took us a little bit. I think our first year we didn't even have a clue you could do this, but you could essentially make an amendment on a bill, strike all of their language. So the bill could be called Safer Schools. I want to get Shazam through. I could strike all of their language or just add the amendment of Shazam into their language.
Yeah.
So that way it has to go to committee because they're going to non-concur because it's two laws in one.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of fun and games.
Yeah. And one of the rules a lot of people don't know about, if it's already passed the House, I can put it on any bill.
Yes.
There's no such thing as non-germaneness.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's going to be fun.
And so a couple of big ticket items out there. I do know medical pricing transparency and getting rid of physician non-competes passed out. I do believe both are on the floor now. So we'll see what happens there. Also, from a Republican caucus perspective, the bill cutting out government regulations, REINS Act is still over in the Senate. I believe it's on the floor now as well. They did some amending
That'll be good.
that we didn't like, but hopefully they can change that back on the floor. Another one, the parental rights
Yes.
is
It's not getting heard.
it's not even getting a hearing over in Senate Education. And
Which
again,
makes no sense.
that's one of the processes that's one of the consequences or byproducts of the way we make law. Is, you know, it's got to go through this process, and if a Senate committee or Senate committee chairman either has other priorities or is too busy or whatever, some laws don't even get a hearing. And the Parental Rights Act that we passed out of 3M and then onto the floor and passed over, it's not even getting a hearing, folks. And from all my conversations, I'm led to believe that will die in the Senate.
And
which is
on the
unfortunate.
Senate side, the bad thing is this, unlike the House side, the Speaker appoints, essentially, the committee chairs appoint the subcommittee chairs, right? But on the Senate side, it's all based on seniority. So regardless of whether the president of the Senate agrees with that committee chair or not,
Oh, right.
there's nothing they can do. And that becomes an issue.
Yeah, so we do have a lot
If
of
you
stuff.
tick off a Senate committee chair, your bill might not move.
Yep. So a lot of stuff going on this week. I have 3M has a full committee Tuesday morning. I do have 2 Senate bills on the agenda. We have a few other bills that came out of subcommittee, and we'll probably get all those to the floor. Do y'all have any LCI meetings?
We do have LCI meetings, but if I'm not mistaken, it is testimony only.
Okay.
And that may be just so we can bring up the unanimous consent.
Yeah.
So if we have the testimony, then we know that whether we're going to move forward or not with the bill.
Did you know the House Ag Committee had a subcommittee hearing on chemtrails?
I didn't.
So if you're interested in that subject, because folks, some people are, and some folks really want to prioritize this issue, go check out the video. That subcommittee did meet Thursday after we adjourned. So if chemtrails is your thing, go check out that subcommittee. It's House Agricultural Committee this past Thursday. I believe that was April 30th. So tune in for that chemtrail subcommittee hearing if you're interested.
The big things that we've got coming up, the House Judiciary is full with bills coming out. The Senate Judiciary is full coming out.
And they have a lot of appointments too.
Yes.
that falls. That's the Senate's responsibility. They still have a lot of appointments they got to get to as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Boards, commissions, those types of things.
and look, we still have the budget to get to now that the Senate's passed.
Yep.
That's going to unfortunately be done after sine die. We're going to have to come back in.
Yeah.
It's not feasible to get it done in these last 2 weeks.
Yep. Correct.
But looking at this calendar, we've got a lot of Senate bills on like the Senate Education Committee and subcommittees coming up. Whereas the only House bill I see is 4163, which was the High School Athletic Association governance. Senate Medical Affairs has hearings. All the Senate Judiciary bills are Senate bills.
I think this is Fisher Cup bait time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Full committees are doing their last work this week, knowing that we'll have one more week to try to get things.
Yeah, I mean, and
passed.
cross chamber movement
Yeah.
is what it's going to be about. This shows how well, this is where you need consensus.
Right.
You can't just be the I'm going to die on this hill. If you actually want to get something done, if it's not even your perfect bill, if you can make that compromise or gain that consensus to say, okay, well, I'm going to get 70% of what I want. Let's get it through now, and then we can address the 30% next year.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times this is where I think your credibility can either help you or hurt you. When it comes to crunch time, these last 2 weeks, if you've been, a disingenuous member and haven't contributed to the good work of the body, your stuff's not going to get taken seriously.
Yeah.
It just isn't.
And I know that sounds swampy to say. It's not that.
I don't care how it sounds.
That could be the swampy take to say, well, you haven't contributed. It's not that. It's about actually following the process or showing the respect and having the conversation as opposed to just like this last week. Do you throw up 130-something effing amendments on a bill that you didn't attend 24 of the committee hearings and try to say that you're serious?
Folks, you have to put in the work. You got to put in the work. I don't care whether it's your kids' schooling or your own job, whatever you do out there. If you don't put in the work, you're not going to get good results.
Yeah.
Period. In the day. There's nothing different about your job or our jobs down the State House. If we don't put in the work, if we're not serious, other members know that. They do. And so when you come and ask a question or want to add an amendment and you have just never attended a single subcommittee hearing or have never had a conversation with the leading members who are driving the effort for that legislation, they're going to say, like, where have you been?
I mean, I can't tell you how many. You go up to the State House on an off day. I can show up. Might see you there.
Yeah.
Might see Niece there. Might see, Micah there.
Right.
But the members that are putting in the time, missing time with their family, missing time from their work, studying, trying to make things work, and then all of a sudden, the people that are, as soon as we adjourn, I'm out of here, I got to get home.
Right.
And then are just showing up during session and complaining that bills aren't getting done. There's a difference between the two.
Well, and again, I'm not saying anything because family time is important.
Yes.
You know what I mean? A lot of folks have other jobs. That's important. I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is, folks, these last 2 weeks,
you better eat, sleep, and breathe it.
that's where this is where having a good work ethic and having credibility with other members comes into play. And that's just, take you for instance. You in your office, you in your shop. You probably can go through, you probably have someone in mind who is always showing up late or not showing up, not attending meetings, not doing the optional things that you ask them to do. And there's probably other employees who are, they're early. They're working late, working through lunches, not really on a time clock. They're more on trying to, get things done on the company's behalf. That person, the ladder I just talked about, those members are going to be the members getting things done these last 2 weeks.
The ones that don't talk about it, they be about it, right?
So next week we also have Zoo Night.
Yes, family zoo night
Yeah.
at Riverbanks.
Yep.
Um,
It's always a fun time, folks.
I know my wife and kids are coming down. I actually have Callahan's 8th birthday as well. So
good
on
deal.
May the 4th. May the 4th be with you.
There you go.
Zoo night May 5th. No,
Yeah.
Zoo night May 6th.
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
Cinco de Mayo the
Yeah.
5th. Zoo night the 6th.
Is that a real thing, Cinco de Mayo?
It's a reason to enjoy some
Yep.
some
And,
good Mexican food.
and folks-
which masa
Yes,
in
it's-
Colombia
it's good.
is
It's good.
delicious.
So, brief programming note: we are going to have our Signy Die episode here coming up in 2 weeks. It's being hosted again at the University of South
USC.
Carolina's Beverage Lab. They have their own trademarked beer now.
So we get to try it.
Yep. So that will be the featured beverage. Again, thanks to the University of South Carolina folks for being able to host us. We will have our usual guest of the Speaker of the House will come join us briefly. Sort of give. I like moving this show to Wednesday because we still have that last day, and so it's not final.
And we're not doing the
And so we get some good perspective from the speaker.
yes on
know
what
what I mean?
what we think's going to happen.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And you can see whether
Yeah.
it works out or not, or
And-
why he is the speaker.
And we like to have good conversation with him just about like, hey, what was your personal take on this session, right?
Yes.
On these 2 years, we set out some goals. How did we do? How do you think you did? What can we do to improve next go around if we're elected in November? So looking forward to good conversations there. Also probably going to have a talk with the brewmaster at University of South Carolina, like always. Potentially maybe we may get the AD, Donati, on as well, talking about the NIL stuff that we passed and how that's making an impact there at the university. And I'm sure a host of other topics. So thanks for listening. Thanks for the 2 listeners for tuning in.
Continue to like, follow, subscribe, pintsandpolitics.show, and let's keep going.
Peace out.
With a little bite. No ivory tower, no pilots, then just crack glass talk and a one down pen, raise it slow. Let the real ones speak. Pints and politics every damn week.